This is the Aalen church in Germany. And you think to yourself, oh, that's a cute old church, and it's pretty old. And you say, oh, because it was built in 1138. And it is indeed a very cute old Kirche, alte Kirche. Seeing how it's 900 years old, but it's a cool door. If you look around the back of it here, they discovered the 20th century. This is on the site of a Roman fort, Roman area, and they realized that these walls in the back here are from that Roman compound, and they integrated, like particularly these blocks here, these lower blocks, I'll get away from the wall a little bit, were Roman nature, so even older. These were from, I think they said 47 AD, the bottom ones you see there on the church. They just, picked up ones they found. There used to be one of those little elevator things with the pulleys you have here. And they found even Roman inscriptions with dates and things on them to let them know, or to inform them about this church, which is, I think, pretty cool. And they found out by digging graves in the middle of the 20th century about the Roman connection. And if you look over here, you can see the sort of where we are located here. So we are standing right now, this tells us, right at the side gates that were right here. And so this church is like right basically there now. And this is what the gates would have looked like from the outside. Really fascinating to think that all the different history that they had here. Here's a picture of a piece of the floor that they found inside that building. It clearly has the Roman inscriptions on it. Inside the building, the floor is made from the Roman stuff. And here's the well in the front gates area. There's the church. Here's the church. And then what it used to look like. Pretty cool, I think. The interesting thing is we're at the corner here of this fort, and people only really discovered this in the 20th century when they're digging some graves here in this area. But things like this were always here. This is the corner of the fort. Nobody just questioned that there are some rocks in the shape of a corner in this area, because there's this stuff all over the place. They thought it was kind of old medieval stuff. And there's this church off in the distance there. But really interesting that nobody really knew it was here at all, even though they built this church and complex in the 1100s and they borrowed some of the Roman blocks with Roman inscriptions. They didn't really write down that they did that anywhere, taking a shortcut. I'm very curious. I was amazed at the love and care that goes into the graves here whenever I visit in Germany. I've seen old graves before in other countries, but they get a lot of care here. Here's the family Mugle, which the oldest person buried here was born in 1853, but the youngest person and also the most recent person was buried in 1945. Looks new. This place looks fantastic, but is still, people are bringing wreaths and caring for and landscaping the graves of this area. This one has been entirely consumed by a bauma, a tree. Here you can see this guy has not had a lot of love. Eugene Schwartz, and he has the war cross on his here, and he died in 1916, so World War One. You can see his inscription here. And you can walk over to this area, and this is the most impressive part to me right here, is well, one of the more impressive ones. Obviously a lot of people died during the war, so you can see if their bodies made it home, they got buried with a little iron cross symbol. But one of the more interesting ones is this one here. There's Max Ulrich. He was an officer, Oberlaufführer, and presumably his son Fritz Ulrich, who was born 32 years later, died in 1945, and presumably their spouses, Maria Ulrich and Ruth Ulrich, who died in 2000, 7 years older than her husband, who died at the age of 23. Presumably didn't marry again. And someone put candles here. They're lit and burning 2 candles, maybe 2 people, I don't know. But you can see how many candles have been burned here over time. And there's a wreath and some holy water for people who died a long time ago. And presumably, they have other relatives maybe nearby, I don't know. But it's really a wonderful attestation to the feeling that these people have for their loved ones who are gone.